The Lions used to make moves in the offseason, and we would pray that the front office got it right. But now Brad Holmes signs a backup guard, and the whole fan base goes into debate mode. What's changed? Or maybe what hasn't? All that and more coming up next on Motown Exile. Hello and welcome to Motown Exile, Detroit sports for fans living in exile. My name's Ryan Relken. Today we're going to break down why every move that Brad Holmes and the Lions front office makes feels like breaking news. Well, to begin with, let's start with the obvious. The Lions are now contenders. They're expected to contend. When Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell first took over, the Lions were bottom feeders. They were still suffering from the Matt Patricia era, and they hadn't been able to rebound since, well, forever. Now, every move feels like it could be the final piece to put them over the top. And as Lions fans, we know because we've suffered through all that misery. We suffered through all the losing. We suffered through the 0-16, and we can all feel collectively as if we are super close and we just need a few more pieces to get it right and a little bit of luck on our side, and we can finally take that final step. And then there's the Brad Holmes effect. I think that Lions fans still mostly trust him. I mean, the people we have to compare him to, Matt Millen, come on. There's not even a close comparison there. But we don't understand what it's like, or we're not used to having a competent person in the front office. So we still are going to criticize. Now that we've gotten so close, I think that every move is going to be scrutinized. It's like a chess piece. Instead of expecting failure, now we expect success. That's a good thing. And I think that as fans, we need to embrace the discomfort. And then there's the fact that this is a knowledgeable fan base. I think Brad Holmes has figured out by now that Detroit sports fans are not Los Angeles sports fans. We don't have a lot else to do in Michigan. Let's be honest. It's pretty cold most of the year, and we're very engaged into our sports teams. We have a lot of tradition. We care a lot, and so we're going to pay attention. Then you add on top of that, we have more access to information than ever before. There's YouTube channels like Motown Exile, which if you like what you're watching, please hit that subscribe button right now. And then there's other things that you can get access to. We all have subscriptions to different news services. There's radio, there's all kind of television, there's all kinds of different ways to get information. So you have an engaged, passionate fan base who is now more knowledgeable than ever because of the fact that they have access to more information and there is more transparency than ever before. And then there's the scrutiny from social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, you name it, people have it, and they use it to amplify their feelings and their thoughts. There's nothing wrong with that. Sports is about passion, and Detroit sports fans, whether you're in Michigan or you're in exile like me, we love our teams, especially the Lions. If you're someone who's my age, you've seen every team in Detroit, in Michigan, win a championship, except for the Lions. And I'm not getting any younger, and some people are living and dying without seeing this team succeed. And honestly, that's very sad. And so it's not Brad Holmes' fault. He can't control that. He hasn't been here the whole time, but we don't want to lose this opportunity. This opportunity is something that I think as Detroit sports fans, as Lions fans, we understand that it is fleeting, that it is not forever, and it's taken us forever, it feels like, to get to this point, and we just want to see this team succeed. So really, it comes from a good place, but social media definitely amplifies the thinking and the passion that's already out there. Now let's talk about the puzzle, because the Lions are, in fact, a puzzle. They have many pieces in place, the core pieces. They've got Jared Goff. He's a franchise quarterback. I don't care what you say. The guy's a stud, and he wants to win, and I want him to win so bad. I want it for him especially because he's got a lot to prove. And as Michigan sports fans, we know we live with a chip on our shoulder just being from Michigan. We've got something to prove to everybody. That's why there's Detroit versus everybody, okay? Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs in the NFL, if not the best. Amon-Ra St. Brown, total Bulldog, total Detroit guy. He's a stud as well. You've got Aiden Hutchinson, you've got Jack Campbell, and you've got a lot of people who have something to prove. You got a head coach, Dan Campbell, who comes in and talks about biting kneecaps. He has something to prove because when he first came in, people thought that he was just a goofball. They didn't understand that the man was intelligent, especially emotionally intelligent, and don't underestimate what that means to this team. So the puzzle pieces are there. Every move that the Lions make, every move that Brad Holmes make is one puzzle piece, and we scrutinize those puzzle pieces. We move them around, we look at them, we see where they fit, and we hope that they're the ones that are going to make the difference. And finally, let's talk about expectations. As a kid, and then as a young adult, and up until now, until about 2022, every year I would hope that the Lions would go to the Super Bowl. I would hope that this draft pick would make all the difference, that signing would make the difference, and we would always be disappointed. We would have Barry Sanders retire in an untimely way. We'd have Calvin Johnson retire at an untimely time. We would have Matt Millen. We'd have 0-16. We'd have Hail Marys by Brett Favre, and we'd have Hail Marys by Aaron Rodgers, and we would see all of these other teams succeed. And we'd wonder, why can't the Lions do it? Why is it so impossible for the Lions to get there? And we now realize, especially after making it to the NFC Championship game a few years back against the San Francisco 49ers, having that lead at halftime, we realized that we were so close and we could taste it. We want it so badly. We were drooling at the mouth. We were foaming at the mouth for that opportunity, and we still are. I want to tell you a story about how I got to these expectations and why I believe in this team. So back in 2021, my son and I, we went to California. We went to Los Angeles, and it was the first year that Matthew Stafford, he had been traded to the Los Angeles Rams, and the Lions went in with Dan Campbell. And, you know, the Rams, as you know, went on to win the Super Bowl that year. And I have to tell you, for the first 10 minutes of that game, the Lions were super competitive. They played competitive the entire game, to be honest, and they had no talent. DeAndre Swift was probably the most talented offensive weapon they had. Amon-Ra St. Brown hadn't cracked the lineup. I think he might have had one catch. He didn't play very much. The Lions were not where they are now. But you could tell by the way that the Lions competed. They had fake punts. They had onside kicks. They had all kinds of crazy stuff. And the Rams didn't even touch the ball for about the first 10 minutes of the game. So the Lions, even when they were devoid of talent, you could see the compete level rising, and you could see things were improving. Even though the results weren't there, the results were coming. And that continued to build, and it continued to build. Now we've had setbacks since. We had Frank Ragnow retire. We had some setbacks on the offensive line. Now Taylor Decker's gone. And we've had injuries. I mean, 15-2. You tell me if that defense is healthier, Aiden Hutchinson is healthy, that the Lions aren't in the Super Bowl, because I think that they would have been. But, you know, that's hindsight's 2020. We can't change any of that. But the Lions' expectations for us fans are sky high. We know, as I stated before, we're close, and we know we're going to get there. In closing, we are not the same fan base that we used to be. The Lions aren't the same team that they used to be. But one thing that hasn't changed is, if you're like me, if you're from Michigan, you're a winner. I don't care what people say. We succeed. We find a way. We're all Bulldogs deep down inside, and we don't quit until we're done. That's why the University of Michigan's mascot is a Wolverine. That's what we're like. I'm a little guy myself, but you know what? I don't quit, and neither does our sports teams. And the Lions finally are a team that we can relate to. They're a team that we understand. They're a team that represents everything that the city of Detroit stands for. And we know that when they take that final leap, it is going to be one of the most epic experiences of all time. We just have to believe, and we have to hope that our people come through. And if you look at the facts, really objectively look at the facts, we're not that far. We've got the core. We need Brad to hit on some of these other pieces, some of the depth pieces, and I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to believe. I'm going to choose to be positive about this. I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to call Brad out. I'm going to call Dan out. I'm going to call players out. I don't care. If you do something and you screw it up for me, you screw it up for the rest of the fans, then I'm going to call you out. However, I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. They've earned it at this point. So if you're a sports fan in Exile like me and you care so much about the Lions, you're following every move here on Motown Exile and everywhere else that you get your Lions news, please slap that like button. Also make sure to subscribe. We've hit our 100 subscriber benchmark, so I want to thank all of you for helping us get there. Our next stop is 1,000 subscribers. I'm hoping to get there by the 1st of June, but if sooner, that's fine, and if not, that's fine too. We'll keep making these videos, and we'll see you next time here on Motown Exile.